Hi, Dr. Ray. So happy you're here.
So my background, I have a master's in counseling psychology and a doctorate in clinical psychology, and I've specialized in working with individuals, couples for 15 years. But I would say my real experience is my life experience and probably seeing my parents as a model. They've been together for over 50 years, and there's still passion between both of them. My mother's 80 and will be 81 in December. My father is 89, will be 90 this year. And they're still very much alive and still doing their things. And on this interview, I will probably share some of their tips and secrets with you. So, I do have the credentials, but truly like yourself here, it's really about what I've experienced and what I've seen work with my clients.
Yeah. Awesome. Yay. Well, I do really want to talk to you about, a lot of people are interested in, how do you attract the right partner? But more importantly, how do you feel, what do you feel are the characteristics of a high quality man or a woman?
Okay, that's a great question. So, and the best way to describe this is actually to talk about different stages of development as far as where most people are. So first stage person might be more animalistic. You see jealousy. It's about me, give it to me. It's kind of like the Jerry Springer show. There's infidelity. There's a lot of things that happen. The drama's played out. In that also, there is passion, there is drive, there's sexuality, but we need to move beyond that. And then from that, you get into the second stage, which is a little bit more compromise. There is boundaries. It's where you talk about things. It's when you go online and you try to see your perfect fit, where they have 20 things that match your thing on Match.com or whatever, and you come together to not rock the boat and build something together. But in there, it develops complacency. The third stage is about spirituality and healing. It's where you might cross boundaries to help each other grow. You might cross boundaries to rediscover each other, to really come together for the main purpose of love. Now, how this relates to your question is high quality people don't need each other. High quality people are not dependent on each other. So they have developed in many stages in their lives to where they want to consciously choose to be with a person. It's not about survival. It's not about getting their needs met. Of course, they want to be able to grow in a relationship and have reciprocation, but it's a conscious choice. It's not something that's based in kind of the old school type of relationship, say like the 1950s housewife and the man who works and he's working these late hours and barely sees his family. It's about two people who are possibly working are saying, you know what? I value my time. I'm living my passions. What can we do together? How can our relationship enhance our lives? So when I talk about high quality man or woman, they're kind of in that stage.
So, right. It's like the partner is truly, I always call it, very simply put, icing on the cake. It's not about a codependency. It's really about a partnership. So I love the way that you describe that. And what do you think, expanding upon that, what do you think that high quality men and women really want out of a relationship?
Well, I think that both men and women want something different. If we're talking about high quality men, they want to be able to experience light from a woman. Of course, if she is, say, a successful woman, he might not feel like he's appreciated or where he can fit in. I know with men being attracted to women that they want to feel like they have some purpose. And you notice for yourself that if you've been in a relationship and the man is not working, or just he's going through a lot of challenges, he withdraws because he's not feeling good about himself. If you have it all figured out, and in other words, you kind of seem more like the masculine character in a relationship, he starts feeling worse about himself. Then you have this gender reversal where you feel like more the man or the mother in the relationship. So both people have to be able to feel where they are growing, and that in a way, not that they need each other in a codependent way, but where they bring out the best. In other words, like for myself, I can attract women. That is not the hard part. Dating is not the hard part. It's being able to meet someone who can really fully accept me, my darkness. I can't always be on. I have blind spots. A woman who really captivates me and draws me in as a woman who can maybe call me on my bullshit sometimes. Not because she's angry, because she truly loves me and she wants me to grow. So I feel high quality people, especially like say women, they're not desperate. They're like thinking, I got my own, my own place. I'm not afraid to be alone. I have beautiful friends, have a beautiful life. What can this man do for me? And she might say, he can open up the chambers of my heart better than I can. It's one area in my life that I don't really open up to everyone else. Like it's one area in my life where that's what makes a difference between being a real intimate lover versus maybe a close friend or family member or coworker or whatever, is that when you have that high quality person in your life, it helps you become a better person. And I think that when both people are able to feel appreciation, delight, especially for men, this one's really big, is freedom in a relationship. When I say freedom, I'm not talking about where he goes out and he has other women. In fact, the reason why men have a tendency sometimes to be with other women, because they feel constrained. They're not grown in a relationship. But it's not the woman's fault. They need to teach that to the woman, and they have to, I guess, be that themselves. In other words, if I show up to a relationship, the woman I'm with is going to know that I do martial arts. She's going to know that I have certain rituals in my life that helps me connect to my own nature, so I can be a better person to our relationship, to our kids, and everywhere else. And if I make all myself about the relationship, if I'm working, it's all about the relationship, at some point, it's going to develop kinks in my body. I'm going to start feeling frustrated, angry. I'm going to be that man looking outside the window like a stallion that wants to get out of the stable. Oh my God, I want to be free. But men have to create that themselves. And that happens before they show up to the woman. Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, and women have to do the same thing. Women can't come where I need you. My ovaries are not going to be working the same. I'm not going to be able to make babies. I'm getting older. Someone's not going to love me when I'm 60 years old. That's crap. Yes. That's a belief. There is someone out there that wants to be with you. And when you come from this place of wholeness, especially if you're a high quality person, you know that this person is just an adjunct to where you already are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that it's just, saying that they're an adjunct to what you already are. And when it comes to high quality, how does one get to that place? You work with many men and women, and I do as well, and I find that they're on that journey to getting to that place of being that high quality. What are some of the steps that you recommend of an individual taking that's on that journey to getting there?
Well, I would say this, that I would say the core thing that they have to do is that they have to really own up their primary fears. And because if the primary fears are not, I guess you say, eliminated, then that will always show up in conversations, arguments. It will show up. You can always be on for the first 2 to 6 months. If you have fears, they show up. So in order to embody that place I'm talking about, this is what I believe, and that is, 1, you take care of your primary fears. 2, you learn how to really open up your heart, not just to someone who you hope that shows up in your life, where people start experiencing you as a more loving person. And then 3, you have some connection to spirituality, to God. Because when you are connected to that, even that higher plane, you don't get caught up with what's happening, around you or to you. In fact, you don't become a part of your circumstances. You're able to somewhat look at your circumstances and remain objective with your heart open. Now, of course, you still hurt, but the reality is that you're connected to earth, you're opening your heart, and you have a higher vision of how you like your life to be and your relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so true and so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And really just, I think another thing to add in there is, wherever you're at on that journey and that path, if you're seeking, you're listening to us right now, you're there, you're on your way. And, I know that you hear this a lot of times, with clients and people that and you work with, having that negative and limiting thoughts and voices that, go on in the brain. And, this leads me to my next question, Dr. Ray, about, do you experience working with clients that are in relationships or tend to be attracted to relationships where people aren't fully available?
Absolutely. It's something that I recognize is that, you probably experienced this too, is that I work with clients where I say, do you really want to, I just straight out and ask them. And I said, just be really, really raw with me. And I had them look at me and I asked them, so if you were to be in a relationship and you had to fully show up, how does that make you feel? And sometimes they stop. And they're like, oh, they start thinking of their secondary gains of being single. If you were to change your lifestyle right now because you're opening up yourself to this person, is there anything in your life you feel that you would miss or lose? And more conversations come up. And if those secondary beliefs are stronger than your primary goal, then you never achieve your primary goal, which is to be in a committed relationship. In fact, you're not really clear with what it is that you want. So we have primary beliefs and we have secondary beliefs. Primary beliefs are like this. There are men and women watching this, probably more women, and they're probably thinking, great, I want to attract the man of my dreams and get married. I mean, it's just like they just put it out there. And then there's these secondary beliefs saying, oh my God, I like my independence. Oh my God, I might get hurt. Oh my God, remember what happened 20 years ago? Oh my God, I have to go through all this stuff again. And right now life is going so well. I have this perfect schedule. I can see my girlfriends on Wednesdays. And I don't want some man to tell me where I can and cannot go. And all of those, negative thoughts, they need to be brought to truth. And you have to own up to those and to be able to shift those perceptions, because that is what's keeping you that's what keeping you stuck in the same place. Now, they can watch this material, they can learn from us. Mm-hmm. However, if those beliefs are in a way, it doesn't matter what tools we get them, we give them the tools. In fact, this is one of the tools that's going to help them. But it's not where it's like, okay, I want a man, I'm going to get pretty and I'm going to do this and this and that. It's like, no, sometimes you have to do the deeper work and own up those secondary beliefs are saying, oh my God, I'm afraid. I'm afraid.
And it's, it's funny that, you mentioned some things that are really, really true and real for many of us. And, many of my clients have these deeper level fears of, I'm not enough, someone's not going to really want to marry me, or, whatever those things are. And it's just getting open, raw, and vulnerable with that. And I almost call it hugging those fears out and embracing them and letting them go.
I work as a relationship coach, and I have been very successful. But I'm going to tell you a secret here that I've discovered. And it's a real simple one. It's pretty damn funny. And people ask me why it is that I have been single. I've been, in a relationship for 4.5 years where on and off, and now really is a friendship, and I've kind of opened myself up to meet someone else. However, in this energetic exchange, I haven't been fully available, nor has she. Mm. We are both two very strong people who like to sleep in the middle of our bed. We both have big king-size beds. We live 5 blocks apart, and she enjoys her bed by herself in her schedule, and I enjoy my bed and with my schedule. And what I learned is that I attracted this person because there was a part of me that really enjoyed that independence. What I also learned is that how insidious that is, that what I really want is not bad. And it's like I was getting used to the comfort in that. And it's also based in history, meaning that the relationship before that, or the most serious relationship before that, was when I was married. And that was a challenging relationship. So there might be some part of me thinking, oh my God, at least I can, again, remain, I guess, independent and not have to move into that. But myself, and then what I'm sharing here is that you sometimes have to jump into the flames.
Yeah.
Because that comfort starts becoming very uncomfortable. And a lot of the tension I had, say, with this person was because it wasn't really what I wanted. I have to be able to jump in. I have to be able to grow. And that little thing, and it's just, I use that as a metaphor. I like sleeping in the middle of my bed and spreading myself out, mine, you know what I mean? And I either have the choice to either remain in a single man or be in a relationship.
Well, and our relationships, as you well know, are our mirrors, and they really bring out our parts that are most challenging within us, and have, those emotional triggers that pop up every single time. That's just a mere reflection of us. And relationships are the most amazing thing. That's why I do what I do, and part of why I'm sure you do what you do. I love love, but they're also the most vulnerable and challenging. So, as far as that unavailability goes, as you were saying, what do you think the root cause of this is?
I think it's, by the way, it looks like you're looking at me, and I want to know, are you looking at the camera, or are you looking at me in the box?
I'm looking at the camera.
Okay, because it looks like you're looking right at me. Perfect. I just want to know, make sure I'm doing it right, because if people are watching this, I don't want to look like I'm like looking at some string.
You don't want to look like you're looking out in Never Never Land. No.
Yeah,
I really can't hardly see you unless I look down.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Anyway.
No, that's okay. Just want to know. So back to the question, it's owning your core beliefs. Can you reiterate that question one more time? Ask me it again, just so I got thrown off.
Yeah, no problem. It's, we were talking
about changing. How do you change the core belief?
Well, there's the core belief of the unavailability. Where does that come from? And the second part to that is, how does one change that?
Okay. So what I feel is that you actually, like, for example, I'll use myself as an example. I might actually go into the experience of like feeling like I might close my eyes, where I'm really feeling like, oh my God, I'm losing my independence. In that experience as I'm embodying, it's not bad or good. It's just an experience. I created this, and the relationship I have is a byproduct of that. So I go into it. It might shift. It might be where I'm afraid to be hurt again, or whatever it comes up. I'm just making this up.
Right.
But I go deeper into the experience. I'm fully embodying the experience. I allow myself to fully feel the entire expression in my body, where I actually feel what's going on, what's around me, where I'm like, okay. It's as if I'm able to see the belief, where it came from, how it emanated from my body. I also am able to somewhat separate myself, where it's like, okay, this is how I felt. These are my negative thoughts. This is how I created the experience, meaning that recognizing that this is not who I am. This is my creation. What I mean by that is, like if you cut your arm, and it's or not like you necessarily cut it by yourself, but your arm is cut and you're bleeding, it's not like you look at the pain and go, oh, I am my arm. This blood, oh my God, that is who I am. Mm-hmm. This is no differently than a relationship. And what I mean by that is the relationship you have, whatever the challenges are that are happening, it's how you perceive them. It's how you experience it. And from how you experience life is how you participate. your relationships are a curation. And as you know, that some people, not only do they create the same experiences in intimate relationships, they do the same thing with their family, coworkers, and everything. So you have to step back and go, wait a minute, I curate these circumstances. That means I can discreate this. I can change this. So that's the next step. It's like, wow, seeing yourself as a participant and letting go of that, like where I'm going to shift this. And the next one is to connect to how it is that you want to be, recreate that. So steps is getting to the core belief, fully embodying that. Second is fully like allowing yourself to express it in your body, however that would be. Recognizing what you have been doing without judgment. Discreating it, meaning that you let it go, and then recreating it, recreating what it is that you do want. Going through that process, as I just shared in under 3 minutes, not that I'm counting,
Yeah.
a person can go through this experience 5 to 10 minutes and get to a place of more clarity. You practice this once a day. Within a week, you have a different perception of what you want for yourself.
I love that point too. And the other thing that I want to make sure that our listeners hear too, that you mentioned, is really being present with that experience.
Yes.
Feeling it. It's like feeling the cut on their arm. It's the same thing with recreating your relationships. We have an opportunity to do that anytime. Every single day. I have a client of mine, and I'm not going to share all her story, but we've worked really hard on recreating her relationships with her brother and her father, and the way that she shows up. Well, lo and behold, it's taking over everywhere, and she sees where she's shown up in that way, where she's been a participant, and how she shows up differently. She's getting really amazing and different results.
It's awesome. So awesome. And whatever relationship you have with like intimate partners, they're guarantee it seeps into all your relationships.
Yeah, it really does. And so I really appreciaed what you just shared, and what a wealth of knowledge that you've shared in literally under 3 minutes. So
my soundbite, yep.
That leads me into my next question for you. How does a fully available woman guide her man in relationship without emasculating him?
That's a good question. So, and that does happen a lot. So to give an example what that could possibly sound like, imagine a woman asking her man to go chop us some wood versus, honey, I'm cold. So one's going to definitely going to get a different response, okay? So sometimes when we talk about masculine language, one might sound a little bit more commanding while another one sounds inviting. But this is what I also believe more than anything else is if a woman is fully available and she's connected to her femininity and she's comfortable in that essence, then she will meet her perfect reciprocal, a man who's able to show up. So that woman has to show up. She can't come from a fully needy place. Right. She can come from a place of very open and have this deep yearning, but not neediness. That man will show up. If she is meeting men who are saying, I'm not ready, he might never be ready. Being ready doesn't matter if the man is 30, 40, 50, or 60. That is a red flag. A good example I like to use, I think a great analogy, it's like the walkabout. It's like the Aborigines where the men would go on these walkabouts to discover life. So when they come back as a man and maybe marry a woman and start a family, that they're not looking outside themselves. They have had that journey. And unfortunately in our culture, we don't have these rites of passage as far as a boy becoming a man. And so if a man doesn't understand what his purpose is, he will not be able to find it in the relationship. And you do not want to find a man or attract a man who finds his purpose in a relationship, because that means he's going to rely on you to make him feel happy.
Yep.
The relationship is fluctuating. He's going to start becoming desperate and so forth. The relationship should be an extension of his purpose. Okay. Thirdly is, it's very important for, if you are a high quality woman, that the man that you're with knows that you like him, that he feels like that you appreciate him. It doesn't matter. I mean, we are still very primal, and whether you're vegetarian or not, most men I know that are masculine love to be hunters. So we'll go out there again and keep bringing back things if you look at us and appreciate us. Yeah. It doesn't mean if you, like the woman that I dated for a long period of time does very well financially. And let me tell you something, little things that I would do for her, she would show appreciation. And that felt really good. She did not need me. She chose to be very kind. And that always made me feel like, wow, I have a purpose. So that keeps a man coming back. And also, the relationship has to have some purpose for him to grow. In other words, if he feels he's conquered you, if he feels like he's not really grown a relationship, that is a man who's always looking for something else.
Yes.
Okay? So you have to be like, and I'm not saying where you always are just complaining about things. I'm just saying that where if you know he's not being his best, that with your heart, you're able to say or do something like this. It's like, hey, Bill, I love you. And when you do this, it's so sexy. And it might be where he's chopping wood, or it might be where he's not feeling his best. And you look at him, you say, one of the reasons why I became attracted to you is because you are a strong man. And it's as if you're not lying to him, but you're kind of giving feedback of like how he could better himself. You're just kind of like being a cheerleader. You're not doing it for him.
Right.
His mother.
Exactly. And that's key too, because, working with a lot of women, a lot of the women that I work with, they're so over-giving. And then they become that mother nurturing role to them. And, as you know, and maybe you could give a little more insight for our listeners on this, it really neutralizes the attraction within the relationship.
Yeah, it depolarizes it, because you gotta remember, the brain doesn't discern time, space, or reality. So if a woman is telling a man what to do, and I guarantee all women have experienced this before, where at first sometimes it's helpful, then in time he's like, I got it, or he starts to become resentful because there's a part of him that wants to be able to do it himself. And I'm sure there's some men out there who are okay with that, but that probably is not the man who want to be.
No, it's not the majority either. It's, men are, I say this to my girls all the time, men are hunters by nature. They really want to work a little bit. Mm-hmm. And they want to know what makes you happy, what you appreciate. And sometimes I'll say, be careful with that, because if he knows it makes you really happy that you guys share a date night at the sushi restaurant, he's probably going to take you there.
I'm going to take us to a sexual area, but this kind of really brings it home, and that is, I know that there's some men that, or at least some women experience that men just want to have sex.
Yeah.
However, if you notice that, a woman having an orgasm seems to be very important for men, and they want you to just keep having them over and over again. And if you say, do this one thing, they'll do it until they're exhausted if you are getting off or, really excited about it. And it's because it just, for some reason, even myself, it brings me joy to know that I'm able to bring you joy.
Right.
Yes.
Yep. It's that same, it really crosses over into the same thing.
We really want to give. We do really want to give.
And you heard it, ladies, here with this gentleman,
Yeah.
Dr. Ray. Okay, so maybe you could shed some light on, are there any simple exercises that women can use to help them attract love and attract the partner that they really want to bring in?
Absolutely. So one is you can actually do a simple energetic exercise where you actually connect to the archetypal man that you want. For example, it might be, say, George Clooney or Brad Pitt or Liam Neeson. And even though you might not have conversations with these men, there is a particular character that they portray. Whereas it's kind of interesting about Liam Neeson is that it's probably one of the most popular action heroes right now because both men and women like him. Other action heroes, usually men like them, but women show up too because he's older and he has like this father figure. So there's archetypal energies that both men and women embody. And so if you're able to really connect to the feeling, the experience of the type of man that you like to be with, and it might be chopped up different men, like you like the quality of this man, the quality of this man, the quality of this man. It's not a man who golfs. It's not a man who has this color hair. It's none of these things. What I'm trying to say is that you can't strip down any online dating questions and kind of go, oh, that's my perfect man. It is an experience. You want the experience. Right. So once you connect to that energetic archetypal man that you want, where you imagine what that would be like, and then it's like, what would it be like to be in his shoes? What does he like? Where does he go? What type of friends does he hang out with? What you're doing is that you're connecting yourself to the energetic vortex where he actually will start popping up. He might end up being your brother's friend. You start naturally, in a way, kind of drawing these type of men into your life. I've seen it happen so many times. Also, you become clear with what it is that you want. So you're not complaining with your girlfriends, oh my God, I met this really feminine guy who blah, blah, blah. Why are you giving attention to this?
Right.
As you start giving more attention to what you do want, that starts showing up. Another thing is that if you are single, date yourself. Wear sexy panties for yourself. Connect to love itself. When you take warm showers, imagine what it'd be like to take a warm shower and have a man touch your breasts and really connect to you. In other words, women sometimes only really open their hearts up when a man compliments them, or they only open up their hearts when, they're making love or something. You need to make love to yourself every day, every moment. And if I know most women have had this experience, when you've had great sex or you're in a relationship, more men look at you because you're vibrant, you're not needy.
Yeah.
You're exuding this beautiful energy.
Yep, you're happy, you're glowing, you've got that thing. Mm-hmm. It's always that X factor. And how can you, just remembering that, really, even just to add on to that, is tap into when you were in a relationship and you were really happy and felt free and you were smiling at everyone, when you're not in one, and enjoy that. Open your heart. This is something that I've heard as a thread throughout this entire interview, is really opening your heart and letting love in, and be love and be yourself. So thank you for that. And really, all of this information is such great information for our listeners, and I'm really happy that you were able to join us today. And I know that you have an amazing gift for all of our listeners, and never fear, you can click on the link, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching, and you can access this gift. I will let Dr. Ray tell you all about it.
So the gift I have is a chapter from my book, and the chapter is about the 8 feminine archetypes. And what it does is it gets into describing the different archetypes that I've discovered and how to embody them and how it can work in your life to be more attractive. And what I mean by that is even women are attracted to other women also, maybe not necessarily sexually, but sometimes you'll see women kind of go, wow, I love that essence. Wow, I love that. Well, what makes you the most irresistible woman in the room is being able to tap into that. You know, once you're predictable, once you become this box, this idea, or this identity, you're boring. So it's about being able to understand those energies that are very natural to you. So I have a chapter that they can read, and also there are some videos in there that actually get into exercises where you move and open up the pelvic floor to kind of get the energetic creative juices in your body flowing, where I actually do some demonstrations in that. Because I think very much, especially for women, that you need to have movement in your body. It's not about what do I do, and it's not an analytical process. It's something that has to be moved into your heart and into your sacrum and felt throughout your entire body.
Ooh, I like that. That's so true. Awesome. Well, I know that our listeners, our viewers are going to really love this gift that you have. And, thank you again. What a gift it's been to have you join us today. And I so look forward to the next time.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Dr. Ray.
You're
Take care.
welcome.
Bye.
Bye.